Ladies and gentlemen, children of all ages, welcome to our show. We have gathered together from the cosmic reaches of the multiverse, two of the nerdiest geeks to be found. We proudly present the Professor and her geeky girlness herself, Ace. And now it's time. GeekyKOOL presents Professor and Ace.
Hey everybody, welcome to GeekyKOOL presents Professor and Ace, Season 2, Episode 2. Yeah, we're back at it, and you can tell that Professor and Ace is back because we're late, as usual. So we're always kind of in that, oops, it's that friend you invite over, but you tell them to show up 15 minutes earlier than you want them to be there, just so they don't show up too late.
That's us. That's okay. I'm always early, so just so you guys know, here's what happens behind the scenes of GeekyKOOL. We got on here at 6:30.
Yeah, we did.
And we started discussing some things for the show. We started discussing some personal things, and we started discussing D&D, and that.
And here we are.
And we're like, oh, we're running late.
Yeah, it happens. So.
It happens. It's okay, guys. It's okay.
Well, we're glad you guys are with us. And for anybody that watches later, thank you for checking us out. And for those that are now listening via podcast.
I know. That's so cool.
GeekyKOOL Presents has its own podcast, guys. If you don't know that, go out and go to your favorite podcast place. If it's Amazon or if it is Apple or if it's Spotify. Spotify has us. We're all over the place. We're everywhere. Yeah. So you can listen to us. So if you can't tune in to watch us in person, but you like to take that podcast with you on the run, now you can. GeekyKOOL Presents is now on all of the different podcast networks. So,
hey, is there a way for us to take our old episodes and turn them into podcasts?
We might be able to.
Because we had some good episodes last season.
We did. There's some limitations to it, so we could do that. But yes, but we can look at doing that. That's a possibility.
Maybe we can just do a best of and kind of
throw some of the best ones in there. We might be able to do that. So
I don't know.
There's some. So.
I
won't go into all the details of what it takes to get there, but yes, some of that's possible. So, but we wanted to bring to you guys.
We can always ask the scallywag to help.
This is true. Speaking of the scallywag, I had his old partner in crime on for our little show. We had D on talking about D&D and the OGL, the Open Gaming License, or, for their version 2, the not so open gaming license. So you guys can check out that. Normally they're shorter than this one. This one's a little longer. I think it's 35 minutes long. You can check it out, though.
It's a bunch of information, though. There were a lot of things going on. There's still a lot of things going on. And like you said, I think we need to invite D and maybe a couple other DMs that we know and bring them on and kind of get their take on things that are going on as well.
Well, in 40,000 people canceled their subscription last Thursday.
I know.
To D&D Beyond. And then they shut down, or it crashed, whatever it was. It made it difficult for people to cancel. But a message was sent, but I don't know if they're really listening. But we're not going to focus on this, because I could go on and on, because it's a fascinating subject. But I wanted to get to what we talked about we were going to do. Yeah. We just talk about the things that excite us for 2023 when it comes to different television and streaming shows out there that are coming up.
Right. And we did movies last time.
We did. You guys can check.
Do last week. I was ill, unfortunately. But the week before, we did talk about what we're looking forward to in movies coming up in 2023. We touched base on 90% of the ones that are on our list. I know we quickly went through some of them because we kind of get long-winded and
What? Us? What? Yeah, we do.
It's a thing. But today we're going to be talking about, like you said, TV shows. The shows that are kind of getting us like we want to watch these, and if you guys don't know about these, Professor's great about putting trailers when they drop on our website, GeekyKOOL.com. And so if there's some that we're talking about and you want to see like the trailer, I think almost all of these have been.
I believe so. If they have a trailer, there are some of them that don't have trailers for the new season, but the ones that do are over on GeekyKOOL.com. The Mandalorian season 3 trailer dropped.
I know.
Last night. Now it's not on GeekyKOOL yet. It's set to go up in a little while, but it will be up there tonight. You guys can check that out if you didn't see it. It was on the football game last night, and then also dropped for everybody else afterwards. So in the football game, by the way. I'm wearing my Dallas Cowboys shirt in honor of my Dallas Cowboys winning their first road playoff game since 1995. So,
I'm not wearing a jersey because I don't.
You don't care.
Okay.
That's okay. That's okay.
Listen, I did know that they won.
Yeah.
Because it was the talk of the office today.
Was it?
It was.
I'm sure there was one person who. Yeah.
Our publisher is happy.
Yeah.
And some other people aren't.
I know one of the writers probably would have liked for us to lose because, well, he's a fan of the evil empire. So. And we got Ashley commenting for us. Hey, Ashley, good to see you, girl. Yes,
Ashley.
Castlevania. I'm a fan of Castlevania too. So is the new season coming up? I've not heard that. So. We got a comment here from Jessica. Hey, Jessica. Oh, look, she's got a little star there. Look, I see that.
Jessica's amazing, guys. If you guys don't know about what Jessica does, we did a whole podcast with, a live stream with it. See, now I'm getting into podcast talk. I'm just saying.
We sure can.
But Jessica needs to come on. Her and Lonnie need to come on soon and talk to us about what's going on this year for Heroes for Kids.
I agree. That would be awesome. So, Jessica, you get with Lonnie, decide when would be a good time. Let us know. We will have you guys on. So, and thank you for joining us, and glad you're here. So, so we wanted to jump into television shows and what we're excited for. So, I'll let you take the first one.
Well, you mentioned it because it dropped.
Yeah.
So, we'll talk about Mandalorian Season 3.
Yeah. Did you see the trailer?
I have not. And that sounds terrible, but I worked all day.
No. There's nothing wrong with that. That happens. I'm just curious if you got to see it or not. You will, there have been some little mini clips here and there, but this was the first real kind of in their trailer, and it looks like we're going to Mandalore.
I heard that. Now, see, my husband watched the trailer. So he kind of he sent it to me, and I just haven't.
That happens. And again, it'll be on GeekyKOOL a little bit later for those of you that not have just see. Oh, let's do Jessica. Star Wars theme. Hey, now we're talking Mandalorian, and here you are with the Star Wars theme for kids.
Heroes for Kids.
Heroes for Kids coming on 2023.
Listen,
I believe that's in July.
Yeah, and remember, we were going to go last year, but illness hit.
Yep.
We unfortunately couldn't make it, but my plan is this year to focus more on going to some cons for GeekyKOOL.
That would be great. Here's where you guys can check it out. Heroes for Kids, ComicCon.org. For those of you listening on the podcast, all one word. Check it out, or if you Google Heroes for Kids Comic-Con, it will show up that way too. I've done that way before. Jessica, thank you for that link. That's awesome. So yes, Mandalorian. Just so you know, they show they show a little someone using a lot more powers this year. By the way,
I heard that. I'm super excited, as he should. He's getting older.
And he did train with Luke for a hot minute.
He trained with Luke. And when I say he's getting older, he's already old.
Right.
He's just still a baby in their species. Did Spiel ever tell you his theory on, because Yoda,
mm-hmm.
They never specify his species or where they come from or any of that stuff. He has a theory, and I love this theory, and I hope that he's okay with me sharing it, because I'm going to.
Go right ahead.
He thinks they're the Jedi. He thinks that's the species, and it was named after them.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
That's fascinating. I thought you were going to say that they did some sort of, thing with if they got wet, they had little babies pop out of them, like gremlins or something. But I don't know.
Jedi, Mogwai.
Whatever. They're close. They look like they're related.
I have yet to see Grogu sing yet. So.
Right. Well, have we ever seen him eat after midnight? Because that might tell us.
I don't know.
Anyway, because sometimes we're in space, it's hard to know what time it is. All right, well, that's a good pick. That's a very good pick. Let's stick in the Star Wars world, because there's a lot of cool Star Wars staying in here for us.
I hope you're going where I think you're going.
Well, I could go a couple different ways here, but we're going to go a little animated series out there called The Bad Batch.
The Bad Batch. So do not take this the wrong way, Star Wars fans. I'm not as big of a Star Wars geek as Professor is, or my husband is. However, I have seen almost everything Star Wars, because I'm a geeky girl and I feel like I need to know these things. But I'm actually really excited about The Bad Batch, and my husband's super excited about it. We love the animated series that comes with Star Wars.
Clone Wars and
all of those. They have.
What was the other one?
Expanded the universe,
right,
in ways that the movies didn't, and that's live action sometimes can't do in a successful way. Like some of the creatures that they introduced us to, it's a harder one to do when you're doing live action. I know CGI is great most of the time, but still, some of the cartoons are amazing. What did Danny say?
It's just a blank space there. I don't know, Dee. Hey,
Dee.
We're not really sure what you're saying to us, but maybe he's being muted. I don't know. But no, the animated. So the Bad Batch first season was amazing. It actually was spun off of the last season of the Clone Wars, and seems like it may intersect there with what is the other one, the really good animated series I'm forgetting, the one with the kid that's learning the Jedi powers, and the ship that where they're going, and has Ahsoka in it. Anyway, I'm forgetting it. Anyway, but it looks like it's going to intersect there, and the fact that we've got clone troopers that have rejected the whole orders of the Empire and kind of doing their own thing, and these guys are special forces. I just love it. I just think it's fun. These guys are awesome.
And I just love, so, with the end of the Skywalker saga, I'm just glad that Star Wars hasn't died out, because the universe that it is set in is so vast and so amazingly intriguing, and there's so many different tales that could be told that weren't even touched base on in the original movies, that I think that it's endless possibilities.
I agree. Well, because there's so many different things beyond Jedi out there, and that's what Mandalorian has really shown, that you can do a series without really bringing in Jedi. Other than, I realize Grogu, the child, is Jedi, but that's not been the focal point, and it's been done so well. So are you talking about the Tales of the Jedi? No, I'm talking.
That was 2022. Bad Batch. Visions in 2021.
No, those are all cool, but those were kind of only one
Rebels.
show. Rebels, that's what it was.
I
It
liked
was,
Rebels.
yeah, Rebels. That's the one I'm talking about. Yeah, Rebels is really cool, and it's this season's supposed to intersect with Rebels, is my understanding of the Bad Batch.
I did, and then Resistance was also one. So, but yeah, no, I loved Rebels. I'm a big fan of the animations.
Yeah, the animation's great. I agree. So that's why I picked it. D wanted to point out. I think we both clicked at the same time there. Current season 3. You know, here's the interesting thing. I have not had the Paramount Plus until just real recently, so I'm not caught up on that. It's interesting because people that are Star Trek fans either love it or they hate it.
I just got Paramount as well. Like, we had it for a little bit, and then we had to budget.
Right. Most definitely.
Decide which streaming things we're going to do, kind of balance them. We got it back, and I was like, I really want to do it because I'm a huge Trekkie, and I love Picard. He's not my favorite, but I do love him, and but I'm also very scared to watch this because so many people whose opinion I completely respect did not like it.
Right. It's really interesting because I have friends that are passionate Star Trek fans, and I love Star Trek, but again, Star Wars is a little higher for me than Star Trek, but that's okay. I still love both. I can still love both of them and be okay with that.
Yes.
But I've got friends on both sides of it that either...
We're not snobs. Right. We like both.
Right. I'm happy with both. You show me one or the other, I'm cool with all that. But I've got friends on both sides. Either you love it or hate it. There's not anybody that I've heard said, yeah, it's all right. It's up there with, Deep Space Nine or whatever. Nobody says that. People are like, this is great, or this is the most horrible thing ever. It is a atrocity to Star Trek fans and a slap in the face. And like,
no. And I'm so afraid. So D says,
we did it
we
again.
gotta stop doing it.
All right, Britney Spears. Oops, I did it again.
So D, I'm gonna ask you. Like, am I going to be disappointed with this? Like, if you're still watching, I need you to tell me if I'm going to be disappointed. I'm still going to watch it because it's kind of like I said, I'm a geeky girl and I like to be in the know and everything. And I feel like I'm not because it's already season 2 is past and I just didn't have the streaming site. But
right.
I'm a huge Star Trek fan. Like, so
when it was CBS, whatever that
Picard.
was. What I realize it's Picard, but whatever streaming service was before. You're saying with disappointed with, yeah. She's asking if she's gonna be disappointed with Picard. When it was whatever it was CBS, whatever All Access, whatever it was before Paramount Plus, I was like, I am not paying money for a service to watch one show. I'm sorry, not gonna do it. And then. My wife is a big fan of a lot of the police shows on CBS. So, and she was actually buying seasons, and now she's like, well, I can save money for if we just do this way. Oh, you're going to make me have to get a service that's going to have Star Trek. Okay.
Season 1 was good. Season 2 was crunchy, but stay till the end. Okay.
All right, there you go.
I will try to binge watch it in the next couple weeks.
Did you like the other series, the Discovery and the other ones? Oh, Strange New Worlds. Okay. You want to click that? I'm not going to touch it because you're. That's awesome.
No, I've heard that, and of course, because I just got the streaming site back, I haven't watched it either. But I did hear a lot of people really like Strange New Worlds. So
I've heard that same thing. All right, girl, you're up next. Tell us what you want to talk about.
Let's click on back over here. Let's see here. Well, since we're talking Star Wars.
Oh, there we go.
Star Wars. All right. Yes, please. More, please.
Yeah, right. Yes.
She is one of my favorite characters.
Mm-hmm.
I love the complexity of her.
Yes.
And when she came in on The Mandalorian and that whole, they brought her to live action, I was super excited. The casting is great.
I agree.
And I just think, I clicked it because we were talking about Star Trek, because Dee was talking about that.
Most definitely.
But I was super happy. It was almost for someone who's a fan of the animation series, having her come to life, and the casting was just so good. And when it first was announced, I was like, oh, okay, I can see it. But then when I saw it, I was like,
right.
Yeah.
When you first see her out in the wilderness with the lightsabers, you're like, oh, okay, I'm in. I'm so in.
Yes.
This is so cool. And to me, Ahsoka is the best thing that came out of the prequels. And she wasn't even in the actual live action prequels. But to me, she was the best thing that came out of the prequels. Was her character with the which is interesting, because I didn't watch the Clone Wars for a couple of years because I'm like, it's just a kid's cartoon. And actually, the first 5 or 6 episodes really do play that way. And then all of a sudden they found their groove, and then you're like, and this character Ahsoka is really cool. And then you watch her grow through the whole thing. You're like, oh my gosh,
she's such a complex character.
She is.
And, she brings in, for the new generation of Star Wars shows and stuff like that, she brings in some insight into this history that they kind of have forgotten in a very short span.
Right.
Especially like The Mandalorian, like they forgot some things happened, and like it's all myth and legend, and people don't know if it's real or not because it didn't affect their planet, that sort of thing. But I just love her as a character. I think that she's intriguing and smart and witty, and she has an attitude, and she has a history within the Jedi community that no one else has.
Right, exactly.
I mean, she was trained by people no one else was trained by.
Right, exactly.
Anakin, like, she had a relationship with Anakin. Like, not a relationship, but like,
agreed.
Was her mentor.
So what I love about Ahsoka is she leads with her heart. She's a friend first. She's not just looking at the political aspects of things as a character.
She left because of
right, exactly. Well, that caused her to leave. Yeah, she looks at things through the perspective of a friend and a person first, which I love, because unfortunately the Jedi kind of got in this point to where, well, we can't get into our emotions, so we're just going to reject everything that way. And I'm glad to see somebody who actually is like, we can do this, but we can still do this for the right reasons of your heart. So
a lot of the times with the Jedi, just because of their training and the way that they are meant to react to emotions and all of that, they're good guys, but they're good guys without reason, if that makes sense. Like, they're good guys because this is what you do, but they don't have like that heart that goes into it.
Right.
And she brings that because she was trained and differently. She was trained by probably one of the most emotional Jedi ever.
Right. Why not to be an emotional Jedi?
Sometimes. But no, I'm super excited about her having her own show.
I agree.
I just love that they're doing this, and that Disney is. I I understand it's a business and I understand they're doing it. It's a profitable thing to do and all of that stuff. But I love that they're allowing creative people to expand on this universe that has been around and loved and cherished and obsessed with by for decades.
Can you imagine, being a kid during this time? I mean, because when I was a kid, you had the Star Wars movies that I loved dearly, and you had the Ewok movies, which were meant for people younger than me at that point.
Yeah.
And then you had the really hokey droid Saturday morning cartoon.
Oh my God. But I love that so much because I was younger.
I get that. Right. And I'm not bashing any of that, but I'm like, stuff like this though, I'm like, oh my gosh. If and I know technology wasn't there, you couldn't do the same things you could do now. But I'm like, oh my gosh, if I would have grown up in a time where this stuff was available and I would have had the same love for Star Wars that I grew up having and everything, I'm just like, oh my gosh, this would be like heaven.
So I think, unfortunately, that children are inundated with so many choices.
They are.
That they don't have the opportunity to fall in love with a fandom as much as we did when we were younger.
I agree with that.
Because there's so many options for them. And I'm not saying all children, but I think that there's way more options and they're directly to home. Like, we had to wait for Saturday morning to watch cartoons. They can watch cartoons anytime they want now.
Right.
We had to wait until a movie came out and wait to see it at the movie theater, or then we had to wait like another 6 months and rent it on VHS. Like, it made the anticipation of a lot of these movies and things that we now, as people in our midlife kind of space, appreciate them and kind of grasp at every aspect of them because we were hungry for it.
Right.
And they don't have that opportunity, which I think is kind of sad. I do think that for people our age, it's a great time to be a Star Wars fan and a Star Trek fan and pretty much a Marvel fan and all of that because there's so much coming out. So, because we didn't have superhero movies hardly at all when we were growing up.
Superman and then '89 Batman. I mean, and that really was it. There were some really bad made-for-TV Marvel movies.
We don't talk.
I watched them anyway.
Oh, of course you did, because I did too. It's just what we did, and that's what I'm saying. We were starved for it. So, like, it's kind of like the really bad. And listen, don't take this the wrong way, anybody who loves them, because I loved them. But the Ewok series, it was not what you call good cinema. Good
was not.
It wasn't, but it's Star Wars and it's Ewoks. I was a girl and I was younger, and so it's these cute little teddy bear looking things, and oh my God, they're so cute. Plus, they're Star Wars. But everyone who loves Star Wars watched it, even if it was not good.
Right.
Now we've got good stuff coming out.
Well, nevertheless, I'll say the holiday special, which was.
I was avoiding that subject on purpose.
Okay. Well, you would have been too young for the holiday special anyway.
I know I watched it.
It was 78.
I was 2. I remember it.
I just remember watching it going.
It was wrong. And I've seen it since. It's wrong.
I'm like, I don't know what to think as Star
wrong.
Wars so good. This series, I don't know. Now Princess Leia singing. Okay, all right.
Oh, that's just because it's Princess Leia.
Well, I was all right with that. So, all right, so let's move on to our next one. And I just saw this today, and I don't have a thing for it, but the next season, and I don't know when that's coming. The next season of Doctor Who, where we have David Tennant coming back. I saw a trailer for it today, and it's going to be posted later, but I don't have a picture of it. But I just wanted to mention it because Donna Noble and David Tennant are back, and
I know. I just want to know how they bring Donna back. Like, well, I love Donna.
In the trailer, they kind of hint at it. So
I know, but
yeah.
I can't wait. So, listen, Jodie, I know a lot of people hated on her, but I think she did a really good job. And every time there's a regeneration, people hate on who the new Doctor is going to be. They just do. It's just how it is. Unfortunately, the way that this show is brilliant. When they created it in a brilliant way because it doesn't ever have to stop.
Right.
Even if the actors age out of it.
Right. Exactly. I agree.
And listen, you guys see our GeekyKOOL presents, which I designed because Professor and I love Doctor Who. And that logo is, Dave. It throws homage to David and Matt.
Mm-hmm.
That's my favorite Doctor. Although,
which is saying something because you love all the Doctors all the way back to the first one. So to make him your favorite, that's pretty cool.
Peter, I think comes in second for me, which is a huge statement as well.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that I'm going to get hate because everyone loves Tennant. And I do too. I love everything about that man. I love everything he is in. He is wonderful. I love that quirkiness of Matt. And I loved the inner dialogue and the introspective that Peter brought to the role. And I think it brought such a different level of balance to the role that hadn't been brought for a really long time.
Right. So. I don't disagree, even though I'm Tennant's my favorite, but
Donna.
That's
what I'm excited about.
Yeah.
She was my favorite Tennant
companion.
Mm-hmm. Also, people are going to hate me because Rose is obviously most people's favorite. I love Martha more than Rose, and I love Donna more than Martha.
I know you do. And and I'll tell you the truth. I do love Rose.
You love Billie Piper.
But the reason I love Rose is not because of Billie Piper, even though she's a good-looking young lady, all that. The thing that I love about Rose was the Bad Wolf stuff. And the Bad Wolf is what really sold me on Rose.
That was an amazing storyline.
Yeah.
That was such it was such an amazing storyline. I agree with that. Of course, my favorite. I would love to see my favorite companions come back in a hint of something, but not going to happen. They kind of really closed that door. That would be Amy and Rory.
Mm-hmm. But that's how my daughter's the same way. She, if you somehow were able to bring Matt and then Amy and Rory back for a limited run of some sort, my daughter, who has not watched Doctor Who since that ended because she hated Claire with a passion, hated Claire. And I think it's just because it wasn't Amy. But if you could bring...
That's the thing. It's the thing I said about the Doctor.
Yeah.
I will say this. Jenna, who played Claire, amazing job. And I love the idea of Claire. I loved the girl who shouldn't exist and followed the Doctor through time.
Right.
Like, I love the one where she's in the dialect.
Yeah, that's a really cool episode.
Yes, before she became the companion. I loved it. I think the show became more about her and less about the Doctor, which is something that they should not do. And then when Peter came in, I don't think the chemistry between her and Peter was correct. I think that her and Matt were fun together because they were young and they bounced
Right.
off of each other. So I do think she overstayed as a companion, but I don't hate her, but she is, I agree with your daughter. Like if I could have had a couple more, if I could have seen Amy and Rory react to Peter, my heart would have been happy. So
Yeah.
think about it for a minute. Process that in your mind. I think Rory would have reacted better, but Amy would have been upset just like Claire was. But the problem was Claire didn't have somebody to bounce her back.
Right.
It's still the Doctor.
Right.
So, yeah, we could talk Doctor Who all day.
Now, can you imagine Donna Noble with him?
Oh.
That would have been fun.
I think Donna would have liked Peter.
Yeah, I'm sure.
I think Donna would have got along with Peter because Donna was no nonsense.
She was.
Peter was in his head as the Doctor way more than any other Doctor.
Agreed.
And I think she would have been like, snap out of it, kind of thing. Not like Claire letting him just like roll over in his mind.
Right, exactly. So anyway, so let's, so we're excited for Doctor Who whenever the new season comes out. We're excited for David to be back. We're excited for Donna Noble's return, and that's probably the saddest companion story ending of all time. It is, and you've got some.
There's a couple older ones that are very sad as well.
And I agree. I was going to say, I know we have some companions who die and everything else, and there's some very tragic things. But the fact that I think it would have been more generous to kill Donna than leave her in the state that she was in. I
agree with that.
Which is horrible to say. Because of who Donna was and the fact that she's missing this part, and I think we're going to get that fixed. So we'll come back to that.
It's something that, no offense, they screwed up with. The show writers screwed up with it, and they need to go back and fix it. And I'm glad that we might get that.
Screwed up as much as
they did. They shouldn't have. It shouldn't have ended for Donna the way it did. It was.
I think that was the tragic step in. Honestly, most companions end in tragedy of some sort.
They all, like, I love the idea of Doctor Who, but I don't know if I would go with him on a permanent basis. I think I'd go with him once, but I don't know if I'd go with him on a permanent basis.
Well, that may be true.
I know how it ends.
Well, and you know what happens to male companions, so we're just kind of left on planets and other places. Whatever,
Rory was okay.
Rory was left 10,000 years in the past.
He lived.
The boy who lived. Great. Only for his love for Amy. And good for him. And and she never treated him as well as he deserved.
Oh, I agree with that. So we were talking about Tennant.
Yes.
I mean, yes, please.
I'm excited for this show also. It's interesting to see where they're going to go with this.
I know, because they kind of
prevented the apocalypse.
Right. They had they kind of, the way it ended was the book, the source material. Mm-hmm. That's it. And so I know that they do a show during COVID. They did a show that was like filmed. I can't remember the name of it. Oh my gosh. Why can't I remember it? But it's Michael and David, and they did a show about like being in a play and there's COVID and you have you can't be around each other and all of that stuff. And I just love them two together.
They're great.
I think that they bounce off of each other really good, and just the source material is so unique.
Mm-hmm.
And when it ended, I was like super sad because I'm like, they can't do a second season off of the original source material. So it has to
and that was actually the agreement they had, was that they would only do that. Now, they one of the writers came back and not only signed off on it, but helped write the second season. So I'm anticipating it's going to be great. And with those two, I mean, they can sit around and read the box of cereal.
They literally did on their show. Oh my gosh, what is it? Staged,
yes.
And it had a couple seasons, but that's what they were doing, like what we're doing right now. But they were it was a scripted show based on like their lives during COVID. It was fun, and just the chemistry that they have. They're both such phenomenal actors.
They are.
And David can do anything, and Michael is so good at comedy. And when he does everything, but when he does comedy, it is like magic.
I agree.
So yeah, I'm super excited.
And Tenet, to me, is still my favorite Doctor, but I think he plays a better bad guy even than he does the Doctor.
So good.
Oh my god.
As a demon. Well, and you got a glimpse of it when he did Harry Potter.
Oh, right. Well, and
as Barty Crouch Jr.
He was I'm trying to think the name of the vampire remake from the 80s that he was the vampire in. Oh my gosh. It was a vampire movie that was big in the 80s. He did a remake and he was phenomenal as the vampire. Why am I forgetting the name of that? My goodness, I can see it in my head. I can see the picture of the box for the videotape in my head. Anyway, and then of course, you have Fright him Night? At what? Fright Night. Oh yeah. He's great in Fright Night. Oh my god.
I don't know these things. I have to look them up just so people know.
Then of course, as the Purple Man, or I forget his other name in Jessica Jones. He was amazing. Oh my gosh.
He was so amazing.
Jessica.
He is just so good.
Yes.
And what I love about him in Good Omens is he's not comedy, but he is comedy.
Right,
you know what I mean? He is very much that demon, and he plays it as a straight demon, and it's beautiful.
It is. But as a demon who's willing to negotiate and work with an angel to get what he needs and maybe save the world if it's convenient to him. So
and he's a little friendly with the angel. It's fine.
He is. That's all right. Yeah, exactly.
They've known each other for
since and since Eden, whatever.
But yeah, super excited about that.
Now, can you imagine? Because I actually thought of this, doing a remake of The Odd Couple with those two in a modern setting.
Yes, please.
Right? I'm like, a British Odd Couple. What?
Yes.
Okay, yes, I'm in.
Okay, whoever is listening to this and can make this happen, please let's make this happen. I think they would be down for it too. They love working with each other. They have said it in interviews. You can tell. I mean, Stage was during COVID and they were like, what can we do? And then they did that fun little audio thing for Good Omens during COVID as well. I'm just like, I would be so down. Anytime you put those two together, like I said, it is magic and it is beautiful. And I love my British television. I love my British actors and actresses. And those two are two of my favorites, even though a lot of people are like, what? And I'm like, no. They are amazingness. So
you know the scene in the play and also the original Odd Couple movie where they get over to the two girls' apartments and are hanging out. So I was thinking, Donna Noble and maybe
get
Amy.
Georgia. Get Georgia Tennant.
Get Georgia. Oh my gosh, that would be amazing, right?
She's so good. I love that she played the doctor's daughter.
Right, exactly.
That is a spinoff I would watch, by the way.
Me too. Or let's find out what's happened to the granddaughter from the original.
Yep. Or the girl who lived. The girl who died. The girl who lived.
Agreed. Agreed.
Macy's, like, since she's not doing Game of Thrones,
Exactly.
I would watch that.
I would too. or the return of Ace, because she was in the last episode of last season. She's still around. Let's bring Ace back, blowing stuff up. I could, put those two together. I'm
right.
So,
no, there's so many things we would.
There's so many great ones there. So, all right,
your turn.
Oh, my turn. Okay, my turn. It's my turn now. That one will be yours. Well, I'm just looking at it going, okay, this is going to be one that you really are into. I know. We're going to do this one. We're going to do Secret Invasion.
So we're going to hit our Marvel.
We are going to hit our Marvel.
Secret Invasion. Yes. Finally.
So, based off the comic book series, or limited series from the 2000s, right, where my brain just went out the window when I'm trying to talk about it. Oh my gosh, the Skrulls. The Skrulls basically invade and take over people, including look like superheroes. And in the comics, they had a whole bunch of them on a ship on another planet for a long time, and got to know them, got to be able to do their powers.
And we kind of saw that with Nick Fury on the ship. Right. We've already seen that's a possibility. So right. I'm just super excited about this.
Well, and we saw it with Captain Marvel, what they could do.
Yeah.
But the fact that it appears that they have started this invasion and are planning on taking over Earth for whatever reason, and the fact that Nick Fury shows up, I think, and maybe I'm just mislooking at it, but I watched the trailer several times, and there is a flash of a redhead in a black jumpsuit in the back. And I'm like, did we get Black Widow back? Did we just get Black Widow back?
I mean,
that would be a huge thing if ScarJo came back to do that. And right. You could actually say that the character that died was a Skrull that had replaced her.
You could. There's so many things. It's like comic book world. Like, people don't actually die.
But it's true. It's true. So we will find out, but I'm super excited for it. Looks like this is going to play in to the Marvels, the right. Captain Marvel, Miss Marvel, and Monica Rambeau a movie coming out, that it's going to tie in there very heavily. And so I'm super excited to see it, because, I mean, who doesn't want to see Nick Fury? I mean, come on. And I'm just
excited about, because the comics were so good.
Yeah, they were.
The storyline was such a fun storyline. I'm just excited about seeing what they do with it. And I'm hoping that it lives up to my expectations. And Marvel, most of the time, does.
Yeah.
Once in a while, they'll have a miss. Eternals. But
I really think people would have enjoyed Eternals better if we would have had some sort of introduction to them before just throwing them into a movie.
And it was just like boom, 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 boom. There's all these characters. You're supposed to learn to care about them. You don't have time to care about them. And they meet up with each other, and they tell each other exactly the same thing. You don't have a build up.
Right.
To get to know the characters enough to care about them.
I agree. If you could have introduced them somewhere else and started developing some sort of way to care about them before this
At least one of them.
Right,
At least one of them. And that's the problem. You didn't have a character that was what you would go. I didn't hate it. Like, it was fine.
Unlike Keith, who hated it.
I mean, I watched it twice just because I was hoping it would get better the second time, because, sometimes there's those movies.
Right. No, right, exactly.
It didn't.
No, I felt like it was a C, and most Marvel movies are much better than that. But I
would have given it. I think that the character development was a really low D. Sure. I really do.
I get that.
And the storyline had potential, but it never made it there because you didn't care about the characters.
I cared about a couple of them, I would think so, so maybe it grabbed me a little more, but I also knew what to expect from it somewhat. But then I'm like, man, if we could have seen these characters somewhere else to have been introduced, and then we could have been building up to this, I think that would have been cool. And I know it came out before it was supposed to, so I think that may have been part of the problem also.
I think it was forced. So I'm just hoping that, and Disney has not done me wrong in their TV shows.
Right.
I've enjoyed all of them. And so I'm hoping that this continues that success.
I do too.
And I'm very hopeful for it. So
no, I'm excited for it. I think I've been kind of delaying my excitement for it, but the last trailer really grabbed me, and I went, oh my gosh, the potential here. If we live up to half of it, I'm super excited. So, So, all right, what do you got for us?
Well,
see, this is what I said. I knew you were going here. That's why I said no. We won't do that one.
Loki, of course, I'm going there.
You are.
He's my favorite. Tom Hiddleston is my dream of a Loki. I'm just saying. Tom Holland is my dream of a Spider-Man. I think he was Spider-Man and Peter Parker, which is a hard combination.
It certainly is.
I mean, I think Tobey Maguire did one well and not the other one. I think, Andrew Garfield did one well and not the other one. I think Tom had a balance, and that's what I'm going to say about that. But Tom Hiddleston is amazing as Loki. He's so cheeky, and it's fun. And I thoroughly enjoyed the first season. I loved the whole aspect of where Loki is now in his life.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm super excited about the season.
There you go. Well, I'm hopeful we get to see some of the other really cool alts.
Yes.
The Kid Loki, the alligator.
The alligator cracked me up. So.
The alligator one is hysterical. And so, some of the other ones are really fun. I'm like, okay, I really like that. And it's interesting because we're going to have Ant-Man come out before Loki does.
I know.
And we know that Ant-Man is going to have a little villain that we just happen to see in the original Loki.
Yep.
So,
a different version of him.
Well, lots of different versions. So, King the Conqueror is all around.
At the end of Loki, that there are many of him.
Right.
And some are more violent than others. But in all of it, they are a conqueror.
Right, exactly.
So, but I'm just excited about seeing where Loki can go. I love this idea of jumping through time, jumping through dimensions, and all of this stuff that he has had the ability to do with the last one. I just want to see where they're going to go with it. I just want to see, I've been wanting to know where they were going to take it since it stopped.
Right. Exactly. Where is this going?
Yes.
We'll get to see. So it'll be interesting because I'm wondering if he's going to interact with the Kang that's in Ant-Man. So that'll be interesting. So, which I think he's gonna be like savoir-faire. He's gonna be everywhere. So,
right.
So,
yeah.
Anyway, so all right, what do you got for us?
Oh, that was my pick.
That was your pick. You were exactly right. That was your pick, not mine. Fine, it's not mine. All right, so let's go with this one here. The X-Men are returning in cartoon form.
Yes, please. Do you see who's on there? Do
you
see my two favorites? My three favorites? Jubilee is on there, and I don't care what anybody says. She's awesome. So you guys, I'll fight you. It's the thing. Gambit is on there. Yes, please. And the Beast.
Right.
I'm happy. I'm a happy girl. I loved this version of the animation when it came out. and the cast that they put in the animation I thought was fun. And I love X-Men. It's one of my favorites. Unfortunately, I feel like, and I don't hate the movies, but I feel like a lot of the times the movies combine characters in ways that made me unhappy. They took somebody's powers and storyline and put it to another character just to kind of make the movie make sense, and that didn't set well with me.
It didn't make sense for fans at all.
No. Like, Jubilee got the short end of the staff.
And so did Kitty Pryde, by the way.
Yes, she did. And so I'm just super excited. I'm hoping that they play off of where it was.
Which is what they're supposed to. It's going to pick up where the last season of it left off back in 97. So I love this in the 90s. The 90s had some great animated series that came out. Of course, you got the Batman animated series. You've got Superman, but you also have the Spider-Man animated series, which is amazing.
Yes.
And then you've got the X-Men series, which was phenomenal. And it really brought in the storylines from the 80s with, of course, Claremont writing. And they were able to, I mean, they adapted some of them to make them fit in, but they did such a good job of telling the storylines that I just loved it. And I was sad when it went off the air. Super excited for it to come back. And all I can say is I can't wait to hear the theme music play because that was awesome.
It was one of those things that would come on. And at this point, I had kids. So I would watch, let's watch X-Men.
We're going to watch a cartoon.
Pretend it's for the kids. It's not. It's for me.
Right. Nothing wrong with that.
But I'm just super excited because I feel like, and this is going to sound weird because there's been so many movies. And like I said, I don't hate any of the movies. I get upset with them.
I hate X-Men 3. I'm sorry. X3,
But I feel like as a fan of the comics and as a fan of the characters, that the animation series from the 90s was the truest. I mean, there are things that they did that weren't quite comic accurate and stuff, but one, it was for kids.
Right.
But I just feel like it's the closest I've come to seeing something on screen that brings up that whole I love the X-Men, and this is why I love the X-Men.
Exactly. No, I'm with you. Now that they made a character for the series, basically to come off in the first episode that could change, kind of like Mystique, but what was his name?
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, right. I know. So anyway, so the reason I say that is because in the next campaign that I'm doing in D&D that I'm going to play in live with a group of friends, my character is going to be a combination of him, because he's going to be a shape changer like that. A combination of him and of Face from the A-Team. I'm playing a rogue, but I am playing a shape changing Face from the A-Team kind of character. That's Morph. Morph was his name.
I was gonna say, yep, right there.
So
he was Changeling, and then the character was reintroduced as Morph in the 90s.
Yeah. So that's
because I kept thinking Changeling, but I was like, no, that's from the comic. That's not from the cartoon.
There's also Changeling from the New Teen Titans. So
yes.
Anyway, we became Beast Boy. Was Changeling, then was Beast Boy. Anyways, that's off the subject, but that was my pick. X-Men. All right.
Okay, we're gonna.
Okay, all right.
Okay, yes, please. Again, animation, and season 1 was amazing.
It was. It probably was my favorite Marvel series that they did out there. It was amazing.
I was kind of worried about it because it was an animated series.
Mm-hmm.
And I know Disney does animation, but it's also messing with Marvel. So I was really worried about it. Plus, it was the What If, which needs to be done correctly.
Yes.
To bring it into the fans' hearts, basically. Because What If is such a fun concept for a series, such a fun concept for a comic.
Right.
And all of us fans have read these comics forever and was like, but what if this had happened?
Right.
And that's literally what this is. It's all of those what ifs. Captain Carter.
Yes, please.
More, please. Like,
yes.
Seriously.
We need to find a way to bring her into the regular MCU. That's all I'm saying.
I agree. And they, WandaVision, we had a Captain Carter. But I just want more of that. I want more.
Yes. I completely agree because.
And zombie. You got zombies.
Right.
You got zombie Scarlet Witch. Holy crap.
That was scary.
You're like, wait, let's take the most powerful, let's face it, the most powerful superhero / sometimes villain / messed up character in the MCU almost. And let's turn her into a zombie.
Right. What could go wrong?
Everything in the most wonderful way.
Yes, I completely agree. First season was amazing. I cannot wait to see the second season. It was really interesting because how the series really wound itself together. Mm-hmm. And you didn't know. You thought there were all these individual episodes, and then all of a sudden they're all wound together, and that was pretty amazing.
The Watcher.
I'm curious to see. Yes. Oh, love the Watcher. Yeah, but anytime you see the Watcher, you're in trouble. Some serious crap's about to happen because if he makes an appearance, you're like, oh, well, dang, this is not good. And What If he always was even in the comics, he was always telling the stories of something that was happening in a different universe that he was seeing, which is cool. But yeah, if he showed up for a real life or not real life, but if you showed up in the comics in a certain issue, you're like, oh crap, right. The Watcher's here.
Well, he's like Stan Lee, just knows everything about everyone and watches.
Just watches. There you go.
Which I love. I love that.
Stan Lee was just a watcher. So.
He was, and he recorded it. That's what it was.
See, there you go. All right, that's a good pick. Yeah. Let's go outside of that realm because there's a few more Marvel. We'll come back to those. I'm not going to let those go. But here's one I saw the trailer for. Don't know if you saw this one. The Ark. Have you seen the trailer for this one?
No. But I've heard a little bit about it. Yeah,
this one's on Sci-Fi Network. And I don't get Sci-Fi Network, so I'm going to rely on being on something else for me to stream at some point.
Right.
But the idea is that they're on a long-term mission in space to colonize.
Right.
And they're all in chambers, all asleep, and then something happens and causes massive destruction to the ship, killing all of the head crew. So the captain and all of those members are gone. So the passengers are all that are left, trying to figure things out and trying to patch up this ship that may or may not be on course any longer. And it looks like it's a lot of kids. That's who's living. So fascinating to me. It looks like really cool sci-fi. I love the picture of the pods there. I just think that's cool with them opening up and people waking up. And as soon as they start waking up, things start happening. So I'm excited.
So I had to look up the name of the movie because I'm like, when I read about this, because I haven't seen the trailer, when I read about this, I was like, okay, so they took the idea of Passenger with Jennifer Lawrence. But instead of it's just her waking up and know, that sort of thing, it's just a bunch of unexperienced people who don't know how to do anything.
Right.
That's a cool idea. I like the idea that there's a lot of kids. I think it could be it could go really bad.
Yeah.
Or it could be really good. So I don't know if there's going to be a middle ground for this.
And it is a sci-fi network who very much has either really bad or really good shows. So
that's what I'm saying. I don't know where it's going to hit. They don't tend to have middle of the road kind of shows. It's either like you love it,
right,
or you hate it,
right.
Or if you're like my family, you love it because it's so bad.
Well, and sometimes, if it's supposed to be bad, the intention is to be bad,
yeah. But this does not look like
fun.
that. This does not look like
I think I have high expectations for this. For watching the trailer, now, a trailer can fool you into thinking something's going to be one thing and be something else, but the trailer looks pretty amazing. So I've got high expectations for it. So, but wanted to point that one out because that one I know is not a lot of people have not seen the trailer for. It is on GeekyKOOL.com. You can hop over there and check it out, though, and tell us what you think.
So here's my pick.
Yeah.
Night Court.
I can hear the theme music playing right now.
I know. I mean, I'm a little sad, because Harry's not gonna.
Right.
Of course, he passed away. But Dan Fielding was such a great character in the 80s.
Yes.
So like the things he said and did in the 80s sitcom were inappropriate in the 80s.
Right, exactly. Can you imagine the show's going to get canceled by people already?
He would have been canceled.
Completely.
And now he's the judge.
Actually, he's not.
Oh, he's not.
No, he's not the judge.
Okay.
She's the judge, actually.
Oh.
And it's Harry's daughter, by the way.
Is he still like a lawyer then?
Well, he is coming back. He had retired from the DA's office, and now he's back as a defense attorney, which is even funnier.
Dan Fielding, defense attorney. Yeah,
the trailer is also on GeekyKOOL.
He's such a prosecutor character. This is fun. But here's the thing. I know a lot of people hate these reboots, right? I know a lot of people hate these reboots of these shows. And yes, some of them fail miserably, but they're nostalgic for the people who grew up with them. And I understand it's a money-making process and they're going to make money. I personally, even the bad reboots, I watch. If I enjoyed the TV show growing up, I'm going to watch it.
Well, and a lot of times it's not a reboot, it's a continuation. So then you're like, what has happened to my favorite characters? So, yeah. So, and if, sometimes they truly are a reboot, and those I don't like as much, but if they are a continuation, and it's what's her name from Big Bang Theory?
Yes, she played Bernadette.
Yes, Bernadette. And she's playing Harry Stone's daughter, who just happens to be appointed judge of Night Court.
Which is hilarious.
And so you need to check out the trailer, but there is a really funny clip out there where Dan Fielding is trying to defend the guy on the stand and said, but how do you know that was my client here that did this? I mean, he looks like everybody else. And you see they scan through the crowd, and it's like he's a bald, middle-aged man. And Dan has gotten all the people in the watching it all to be bald, middle-aged men. Looks like everybody else, Judge. And she's like, "You're telling me your defense is that he could look like any of these people that you brought in here?"
Wait. Have you heard? Is she obsessed with magic? And Mel Torme?
I have not heard that, so I don't know that. Well,
I want her to be obsessed with magic and Mel Torme. I'm just saying.
There you go. I agree. So, but yeah,
is Christine going to be back?
What? I don't know. So far, the only people that I know are back is him playing Dan Fielding. So, but we'll have to see. And I guess the guy who played Bull is 95 years old now or something.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh my gosh, I didn't realize he was so old. And he has hair. And I'm like, oh, okay. Well, there you go. That's kind of cool. Good for him. That's awesome.
Right.
So
I hope they have throwbacks. I hope they have throwbacks about, I can't remember the court reporter's name, but him marrying his wife,
Yes.
who is Asian.
Yes. Yep.
I hope they have throwbacks, and they had a baby, so who knows what could happen with
that. Exactly.
That would be fun. That would be fun. So I'm excited. I have not watched the trailer yet because I was just going to watch it no matter what. So.
Well, that's good. I think you'll enjoy the trailer if you check it out, but definitely check out the show.
I'll go to GeekyKOOL.com right after this.
There you go, because we do have it on there. Well, how about this one? This one strikes me as your kind of show. The Mayfield Witches.
Mayfair Witches. So
Mayfair Witches, yes.
I don't know a lot about this.
Not a lot. It is based off of a book series by...
I know that. I worked at a bookstore, and it's a very popular book series.
Right. What's her name that did the Interview of the Vampire books? Anne Rice.
Anne Rice, yeah.
So she wrote the series, and basically it's set in the New Orleans area again, which that's what she knows, and so that's cool. And basically, this family is history, and it looks the trailer looks really cool. There is, you can tell it's definitely going to be a supernatural with exactly. But it doesn't look like a blood and gore horror movie, but it does look like a suspense kind of on the verges of a horror series. So
and the books were not. They're in that mid-range. So Anne Rice has her vampire books.
Right.
And then she found religion. Yeah. And then she has her super Christian books. Mm-hmm. And these were kind of in that mid-range of intensity. And when I say that, I'm like, I don't want any Anne Rice fans. I love her. I love her so much. I can tell you my favorite book by Anne Rice is Pandora.
Oh, there you go.
And most people don't know what that book is. It's part of the vampire series, but
it's one of those things. If you open up the box, you'll find out.
She's a vampire. But I'm intrigued by this new thing that they're doing by taking these books, like Interview with a Vampire was made into a series,
right?
And then this one, but taking these books by these authors and creating like these worlds with them. Good Omens is another one.
Right.
And I love that because a lot of the times when we're watching TV series, they're the same old.
Right.
And there's so much good content out there. There are so many amazing books and book series that have not been utilized by Hollywood and by networks and stuff. And I love
adapting a really well written out book into a 1.5 to 2 hour movie just doesn't do it justice ever.
It's difficult. Yeah.
Right. So making it into a series gives it a chance to breathe more like a book would, and be able to approach things. So now with a series, a lot of times you take certain liberties and other things, but I'm excited to see it because I am not familiar with this series. I know the vampire series, and beyond just the movies, and but I'm like, but I saw the trailer for this, and I'm like, this may not be in my typical wheelhouse, but I'm excited for this. This is kind of cool looking. So,
I'm just like, I just love that that people are doing this. Outlander was one.
Yeah, right.
Like, these books that really need and deserve more fans and more people to realize that they're there. What a great way to do it. And like you said, you can't a lot of the times force, a 700-page book,
right,
or a book series that has like 4 books that are 300 to 400 pages each into a 2-hour movie.
Right.
Average
you don't do it justice.
Average movies are 2 hours or a little bit more now, but it's still difficult.
Right.
It's
agreed.
the Eternals problem.
Right.
You try to take a comic book like line of characters and you try to force them into this time frame when they're not known by non-comic book lovers.
Right.
You expect them to connect. Eternals would have been way better of a success if they would have been TV showing it.
Right.
And we would have had one episode per character, and then they come together at the end.
Right. Or you could do very much a Lost sort of thing where you have other things going on during the episode, but you focus on a certain character, maybe even do flashbacks. Or I thought for the movie, what I would have rather had with the movie, if you would have picked a time period,
right,
and ran with it, and then
instead of this scattered,
and then you could have really focused on these characters of this time period and kind of show them changing, and then like, oh, now we're going to bring them up here in another movie later, or we're going to do whatever, rather than trying to get them all the way through that. But yes, I agree. So, all right, what do you got for us next?
Let's see here. Well, we started talking again about Marvel, so...
Yep. All right, let's go. All right.
Agatha. Okay.
It was Agatha all the time.
Agatha all the time. I love Agatha. I thought... Listen, I loved WandaVision.
Oh, yeah.
And I love Wanda, and I love Vision, and I love the idea that they had for that show, bringing it into decades with sitcoms, because she watched TV and
right
wanted to be part of that world. But the fact that Agatha was there,
and was the neighbor, and the nosy neighbor, like in Bewitched.
Yes, yeah. But it's all about her. It was all about her. She was manipulating Wanda, who was manipulating everyone else.
Right.
Agatha is one of those characters that I feel like people forget existed until WandaVision.
Oh, yeah.
So powerful, so compelling of a story of her own.
Right.
And the fact that she, in the comics, kind of helps train Scarlet Witch. She helps her because of her own self-interest, but she helps her develop her powers and that sort of thing, to the point of, I don't want you guys to think that she's a good person. She's not a good person. But she has interests of her own, and not all of them are bad.
Right. She's not 100% just evil, and
no.
She's very, very selfish motivated. Yes. And
she's all about her.
Yeah,
and I think you see that in WandaVision, because of how, the whole coven scene in WandaVision. You see Agatha kind of being like, it's about me.
Right.
Like, a coven is supposed to be, for witches, a coven is supposed to be family, and it's supposed to protect your coven. And she's all about her own self-interest. And so I'm super excited about this. I think she's funny. I think her character was played in a, you take her serious, but at the same time, there's humor in it.
Right. Very much so. Yeah, her character in WandaVision was amazing.
It was so funny. And she's like a bad guy, and you still kind of root for her.
Right, exactly.
Because she's funny.
Right.
And Wanda's kind of the bad guy, but kind of the good guy. And at parts of WandaVision, you're kind of like, no, you're not a good person right now.
Right.
And you're not rooting for Wanda, which is a hilarious twist. It shows the complexity of these two women and how they work against each other, but at the same time with each other.
Right.
So much fun.
Oh yeah, I agree. It'll be interesting to see where they go with it on this series. So I'm really fascinated with it. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it. So, well, let's talk about another one that at first I really was not excited about, but the more I see on it, the more excited I'm for Echo. Echo, of course, big character there from the Hawkeye series, the deaf martial arts character, and she's pretty cool. So. And there's going to be a lot of guest stars on the show. I mean, it's going to work in a lot of people. So, including the return of Kingpin and Daredevil and many, many more.
Listen, since Daredevil's coming in there and Kingpin's coming in there, and we know that She-Hulk and Daredevil have a thing. Can She-Hulk
walk of shame?
I know, that was hilarious. Can She-Hulk come in there? Because that would be wonderful. I loved She-Hulk. I thought it was so much fun.
Well, she stops and breaks the fourth wall when she comes in. I mean, that would just be perfect. So you're like, okay, yeah.
Amazing. I like Echo in the comics.
Yeah.
She's never been like a big, like,
Agreed.
I've never been like, oh my God, I'm a huge Echo fan. But I like her.
Right.
I found her intriguing in oh my gosh, why did my mind just go blank? Oh my God.
In the Hawkeye series?
Yes.
Yeah.
I was not going to call it the Hawkeye series though. For some reason I was not, and I don't know why. I was going to call it Clint. I was like, the Clint show. I don't know.
You know the Hawkeye, with that Kate Bishop girl,
Okay, you guys. So what he's doing now is him and my husband cosplayed as the Tracksuit Mafia during OzCon last year, and I heard that all day that day. Like all day. It was great. Hilarious. It was so much fun.
Yeah, have you seen it? Either that dog that likes the pizza. Yeah.
It was so funny, and yet at the same time, by the end of the day, I was done.
Annoying. Oh yeah, I'm sure. We knew we were annoying you.
I know you guys enjoy that. It's a fun thing. It's fine. It's fine.
OzCon, by the way, coming up.
Yeah, we're gonna be there.
We will be there.
We're gonna have like a bunch of trivia panels this time.
We are. We're gonna have a good time.
Of course, we always have a good time at OzCon. It's April. Do. It's the last weekend of April, and it's in West Plains. So
check it out, OzCon, and go search OZCON West Plains. You'll get it, and make sure to show up. Join us this year because we'll be there.
Yes. So I'm excited about Echo too. It wasn't on my top. There's so many things coming out.
Basically, it made my list because the last trailer up on GeekyKOOL.com was showing kind of all the interaction. I'm like, okay, I was not excited about this, but now I'm to the point of, okay, yes, let's watch this. I'm in.
So I think Echo has a unique. It has the potential to have a unique stand in the MCU because she's not as well known as a character.
Yeah, right.
So in order to drive people to watch her show, you literally have to bring in characters that they know. So the platform to intercede these and bring in all these characters is such a great platform. And I think that is what they're doing because I've seen some of the people who are supposed to be in it and coming on per episode. And I think that can drive the MCU forward by using a Marvel not so known character. And I think that's fun.
Well, and we did that with Moon Knight and also with She-Hulk. Oh, yeah. So, I mean, people that are big comic book fans know both of those characters, but the general public doesn't really know.
I think She-Hulk was known a little bit more just because it's Hulk, but a girl.
Right. Well, but then there were people, I don't want to watch it. You're just trying to make Hulk a female. No, She-Hulk has been around since the 70s, dude. Just stop. Anyway, go back and look. She's always been funny and cheeky. And yes, all these little things, this is how her character would be written.
I know. People were very upset because they were like, I don't think, why is she talking to the camera? And I'm like, no, She-Hulk did that. She talked directly to the reader.
Right. Well, and and I know certain people do not like this writer. I'm actually a fan of this writer, especially with his run on Spider-Man. But Dan Slott wrote a lot of She-Hulk comic books and basically said this show is the best, most accurate comic book accurate Marvel show of all time. And I agree with him. Don't always have to like someone's politics or look at whatever. I know some people are just all poo-poo, but Dan Slott's a good writer and did write She-Hulk and wrote some really amazing, pun intended there, Spider-Man stories also for his run on Amazing Spider-Man. So, all right. That was it yours? That was
Agatha.
Agatha was yours. Okay. So, have you seen the trailer for Lockwood and Company?
No.
Okay.
But I'm interested.
Yes, I think you are.
There's swords. There's a skull in a jar that looks like plasma around it. It looks like some kind of futuristic thing, but at the same time, they have swords.
Right. So think. The world has a problem with ghosts, and a lot of the ghosts are violent. And so, especially people come out together to form what's sort of like Ghostbusters, but they use other methods. I mean, they're not using proton packs to go and capture ghosts, right?
Okay.
And then, but most of it now has become ran by corporations. Of course, right? So,
why wouldn't it?
One of the most gifted young psychics is trying to make a name for herself and joins in with a very small company called Lockwood and Company that are basically two other post-teen boys and herself. And they're going to try to do what the corporations won't do. Right.
It's just these three. Okay. Cool.
And trying to basically do what the corporate world can't do and the adults can't do. They're going to come in and fight ghosts. And the trailer's really cool.
Here's the thing about it. Because if this, just what you told me, I would think that the corporations don't actually want all the ghosts gone.
Right, because they're going to get money.
Exactly. Welcome to the world.
Right, exactly. We don't want to fix all the problems because we want you to still pay us for that. And this, did I tell you this takes place in London?
With now I'm all about it.
I knew it. Let's see. It's British. They teen, preteen, kids basically running around and doing what the corporations can't do. And there's going to be ghosts and supernatural and heads in a jar.
They have swords with a skull in a jar, which means it's a ghost, but somehow it's a skull.
Yes.
Which I don't know how. So it's ectoplasm around a skull. Just on the poster alone, you had me.
There we go.
Sometimes that works, by the way, just for you marketing people out there for different TV shows and movies. The posters are important.
I would say it's more important than showing half of the plot of the movie in a trailer.
Or just all the good scenes.
Or just all the good scenes. Or just all the funny scenes.
Which happens way more than...
Definitely happens way more than... when you know what the plot of the movie is and kind of how things are going to go before you get there because you've seen the trailer, there's a problem. Let's get off the horse.
When you see a trailer and you know how the movie's going to end, that's the problem.
I agree. All right. Next one's yours. We're running low on them, so this will be interesting to see what you pick. You went Devil Dinosaur. Awesome.
I mean, yes. Again, animation. I'm all for the animation this year. I really am.
Yeah.
I think there's so many good things that look like they're coming out. What If, X-Men, this. I think it's going to be a good year for animation.
I agree.
With TV shows. I just do. And fun. Look at her.
I know. Moon Girl. Based off a comic book, the comic book was based off of a prior comic book from the 70s that took place in a cool world with dinosaurs and cavemen and everything else. but Devil Dinosaur then made its way up to modern times with Moon Girl. So this looks like fun. It's going to be more set for kids, but it still looks like a ton of fun.
It's the name alone.
Yes. Yep.
Why
I
would
agree.
you watch it? Why would you watch it?
That's why I put that on there, because I'm like, oh my gosh.
It's so much fun. And sometimes when your life is stressful, I'm going to get on my soapbox. Sometimes when your life is stressful and your work is stressful and your family life is stressful and finances are stressful, there's nothing better than a good cartoon.
I agree 100%. Could not agree more there, Ace. So yes, and by the way, announcement yesterday, and I did post this, maybe it was the day before, but we don't know if it's coming out this year or not, so I didn't include it in the list because I don't know. But the revival of Phineas and Ferb.
I know.
I love it.
What more can they do with the summer? And Candace, is Candace finally going to bust them? I loved Phineas and Ferb. Dakota,
I know what we're going to do today, Ferb.
Right? I just loved the imagination that it allowed my kids to have.
Yeah.
To know that they could go out and play and, they could pretend. And this was what was going to happen. And Candace being just such a wonderful, annoying big sister who's trying to bust them.
So my 21-year-old daughter loved this show. The thing she loved most was she loved Candace because she loved the actress from High School Musical that played her.
Oh my
God. Yeah. Anyway, but so my daughter says to me when she sees this, and I tag her in it, she goes, "Okay, I'm in, but only if Ashley Tisdale." That's who it is.
Yes.
Only if Ashley Tisdale is Candace. And I'm like, fair enough. You want to keep the same voice actors. But she's super excited about it. But I am too, because, as a parent, that was one of those shows. A lot of times you get sucked into watching shows that you're like, oh my gosh, this is mindless. This is stupid. I just want to slit my wrists. But Phineas and Ferb, I'm like, we got to watch Phineas and Ferb and watch them build things while you've got Candace, screaming for mom. And then you've got Perry the Platypus going over.
Listen.
Perry's awesome.
Perry was awesome. He is a secret agent platypus.
I know, right? And it goes into my secret agent love, right? It hits that.
I know, because it hits your ooh, a spy. And hey, what's he doing? But it's a platypus.
It's a platypus.
Plus, I love the fact that they had a platypus as a pet.
Right.
Because they would not be a good pet in real life. Because I remember Dakota literally coming to me and going, "Can we have a platypus?" And we had to look it up. Right. And I explained to him that they are not friendly little cute.
They're not Perry.
They're not.
And getting a hairless mole rat's also probably not the thing to do. So
yeah.
Even though I would love for a revival of Kim Possible. So
hey, you know what? I'm not taking that off the table. If somebody do it. I love
Please do it. So, but no, Perry the Platypus, and of course my favorite line. Perry the Platypus, I see. How very unexpected. And when I say unexpected, I mean how expected.
Oh my gosh. And his daughter.
His daughter was great.
What was his daughter's name?
Oh my gosh, I'm trying to remember. Evil doctor of the evil Dr. Duke and Smurfs. And his daughter. But then he's really not that evil. He's just wants to be a dad and he sort of wants to take over the world, but really, wants to impress his daughter. Vanessa, that's right.
Vanessa. And she was just she was just so teenager.
Yes.
She was just like that. Mm-hmm.
Very much so.
You now raised a teenage daughter. You understand that is how they are.
No, completely. She's 21 and still is often that way.
Yeah, just like, no, Dad.
No, thanks. Even though, so she's excited about Perry and about Phineas and Ferb coming back. So she's kind of embracing a little more stuff there. She had mentioned something else the other day that was more on the geeky side. And I'm like, are you back? And then her and her boyfriend are on a cruise. They won a cruise, and they are on a cruise in Mexico.
Wait, they won a cruise?
Yeah, so
I'm super jealous.
His side of the family has some money. Like her boyfriend. You
can't say that on our podcast.
Well, I can. I mean, it's really interesting because they're not the typical. I mean, it's just interesting because it's not. It's atypical for what you expect. Anyway, I'm just saying. So they do things like take the whole family out on a cruise, and so they did that. And while they were on the last cruise, they did something or played something and won this other cruise. So I don't know. So my daughter's down on a cruise. I know, right?
Jealous?
In Mexico.
I'm so jealous.
Yeah, on the beaches, and I'm like, yeah, me too. But she texted me last night, and she rarely, just texts Dad. And she's watching the football game. Her husband, her boyfriend, not her husband. Her boyfriend is gambling.
And, don't go there yet.
Yeah, I know, right? I agree. Let's not go there yet. Is gambling. He's on the casinos. She's went back to the room to watch football, and she's like, "Dad, wish I was watching the game with you." I'm like, "Aw, am I getting my girl back?" Aw. I think her moving out helped. Because she misses us a little more. So anyway.
Oh, they like you so much more when they don't live with you.
Right, exactly. And I get that. I liked my parents a lot more once I moved out also. So
I think my kid liked me when he lived here. Hopefully.
Hopefully.
We used to do things together even when he lived here.
Right. Well, that's important. I tried to do that, but you know. And I got a 14-year-old now that good luck doing anything.
You're like,
all right, whatever. So anyway, I think we
only have 2 more left. Right?
I think you're right, and I'm going to leave that one for you because he's hunky. We're going to talk about The Last of Us.
Oh, so I saw this on. It's on my list.
Yes.
On my list. I think it seems kind of up my alley.
I agree. And I think it's also based off a book or a book series.
Huh. Let me check.
Yeah. So, basically trying to survive in post-apocalyptic world, all of that jazz. But the trailer really is engrossing. So I'm like, okay, yeah, I really want to give this one a chance.
Right? It is on my list. I like, and it is a book series.
See, there we go. Another book series made into a television series.
Yay! Super excited.
Yeah.
I love this. I love that they're doing that.
Where'd I come from?
Where did you come from?
Your mother.
When
all of us.
When a husband and a wife love each other very much.
Now he's making you think about your parents in that situation.
You'll have to tell them what I saw earlier, the text I read. Anyway.
I will after we get off here because I'm not doing that on our podcast.
No, I'm not saying right now. I'm saying later. So we got one more.
Oh my god. The Witcher.
The Witcher.
So, it makes me kind of sad.
Right. So this will be the last season with Henry Cavill as The Witcher.
I know, and
yeah, that's the biggest jip in all of Hollywood history. Leave a show to focus on being Superman. That didn't work out so well.
Yeah, super blows.
Super blows.
Dude was born to be Superman, for God's sake.
See, I get why people say that. I don't know. I agree with that.
People who are listening to the podcast and not watching this live, the voice you heard is my husband, Shpoo. He's the scallywag. He came home from work and he decided to interrupt our podcast.
Well, he wasn't interrupting. He's joining. He's joined again for fun.
Let me bother him.
Okay, all right. You go ahead.
It's his studio. I'm in his studio. His toy studio. All the toys.
All the toys.
I'm a really good wife. He has a whole room just for his toys.
See, there you go. To quote the Joker, where does he get those wonderful toys?
All over the place.
All over.
See, there you go. That's good to know.
Target, Amazon.
See, there you go. So back to The Witcher, though. I mean, Did you happen to see the other series that was on, like the prequel series that was on Netflix with it?
I saw it. I didn't watch it. Like I know about it, but right. I didn't watch it.
It's pretty interesting. I kind of liked it. So I know certain people really didn't, and that's fine. Yeah. I just I'm like, oh, that's kind of a cool way to introduce things. But I'm super excited for season 3 to see where things go. I'm also super excited to see, how things not only go with these characters, but there's a certain bard I'm interested to see if he returns. So
I'm just sad because again, The Witcher. We've been talking about all these shows, and a lot of them are comic books. The Witcher is a book series,
right?
Super popular. I worked at a bookstore, so I know which book series are super popular. It is a super popular book series. And there are so many books that they can pull from, which gives them such a great foundation for this world. And I think it's one of my favorite fantasy worlds based on books. I mean, I love Game of Thrones. Because the world building was good. I loved Game of Thrones until like the last couple seasons, but whatever.
When things seem a little more rushed.
Once they ran out of source material.
Right.
The writers from the series had to write source material, and it wasn't quite as true to what I wanted.
Right.
Out of it. The Witcher series has enough books that they haven't hit on everything in the book yet with the series. So you have enough source material from the original writers that you can pull from. Of course, they always adapt it and change it a little bit, but it's such a good series. And if you haven't read the book, so like a lot of these that we've talked about are books. So if you have time to read books, good for you.
Right.
But if you do, check some of these out. And if you have time to read books and you've never picked up a comic book, go pick out some comic books because they're quick reads and they're super interesting. And a lot of these characters, especially if you've been watching these movies and these TV shows and stuff, check out their source material because the source material is so, without that, a lot of the times it's the Game of Thrones thing. Once you run out of source material, they don't succeed as well.
Right. Agreed. The Witcher also was a popular video game that was adapted from the books that brought the book series back also. So you have the people that know it from the video game and from the books and then now from the series. And I will say Henry Cavill is a heck of an actor. I think he's amazing. I was sad to see him no longer be Superman, other than I know they're going to go a different direction. Now,
I get it, but it's how I said earlier that Tom Holland is such a good Spider-Man because he brings in both Spidey and Peter Parker. I think Henry brought in both aspects of Superman in a really good way.
So I honestly was never a fan of the movies with him as Superman, to be honest, other than The Last Justice League. The Man of Steel, I did not enjoy the writing. I didn't think it was the right character. But again, if I'm seeing Superman, I'm seeing Christopher Reeves in my head. And I did not appreciate... I didn't hate it, but I didn't appreciate it as much as certain people. And certain people think and the Superman I know would not let his father get blown away in a tornado. The Superman I know, there's a lot of things there. It wouldn't be brooding. I mean, he was a brooding jerk in Batman versus Superman.
To be fair, that is the writing.
No, agreed. I'm not blaming him. He's a heck of an actor. I think.
But he played it really well. Like
he played what was written really well.
Yeah.
And I think he's amazing in Witcher. I think he's amazing in Enola Holmes. I think he's fantastic.
Love him as Sherlock Holmes.
I know. Him. So I really like him as an actor. And I think if he was written well, he would have been an amazing Superman. Could have been. But I don't think he was given that chance.
That's where when I said he brings in both the aspects of Superman, Clark and Superman.
Right.
And that, unfortunately, writing and editing and all of that stuff kind of take away from some of these things.
Right.
But him as an actor, I think they could have. He just found his feet as Superman in my mind.
Right. No, that I agree with.
Really good. Like, that's Superman. And yeah.
No, I agree with that. I just felt, and he did, I think he did the best he could with the writing he had. Unfortunately, the writing tried to make him Bruce Wayne rather than Superman. So
it's a thing.
But that's my opinion.
I mean, we have friends who disagree with you strongly.
Oh, I completely agree, and I tell them my opinion very strongly. One of them posted a picture of the scene where Pa Kent's about to be blown away in the tornado and says, "This is why this is the best superhero movie of all time. He really brings in the emotion of the character." I'm like, how? If my father, who, especially as a teenager, who I did not have a great relationship with, was about to be blown away in a tornado and I could stop it, I would have stopped it.
Right. Yeah.
I'm sorry.
It's just bad writing. It's just bad writing.
I don't know.
Here's the thing with Superman, and he's not even my favorite character. Okay, I actually dislike Superman. I don't hate him. I just dislike him.
Supergirl's much more appealing.
He's not appealing at all because he's the Boy Scout.
Right.
He's like overly good.
But he's not the Captain Marvel / Shazam Boy Scout who's funny and isn't confident.
No, he's just overly good.
Right.
He's just like, look at me, I'm Superman. I don't know. I just never liked Superman for that reason. And I do agree with you. They took Superman's character and they tried to make him a little bit more moody. There were aspects of Superman like there are aspects of Superman like Lois Lane aspects which get him emotional.
Right.
In the comics. But as an overall arc of a character, he's not that way.
No, he's not the brooding character that they portrayed him in Man of Steel and Batman v Superman. Because it was like, oh look, it's younger Batman with Superman's powers versus older Batman with Batman's power. So I don't know. I just
Batman's powers.
Right,
Did
which
you say Batman's powers?
He's rich, right? That's what he said. Justice League. That's kind of true.
And he's a martial arts expert.
He is. And he knows how to find weaknesses in people.
Because he's smart. But powers is a very strong word to use for the Batman.
That's why I used it that way.
I know. That's why I called it out.
And I don't like characters with no real powers. No. Actually, those can be very appealing.
Hawkeye is amazing.
Yeah, I agree.
He doesn't have powers.
Well, in fact, he's kind of a brooding jerk in the comics. And he's kind of like, I don't know. Like, I'm still a teenager. Leave me alone. I don't know. West Coast Avengers is great. Anyway, so we kind of cycle there. But anyway, so yes.
But we're under 2 hours. Good for us.
Yay! Woo!
And we have made it through the list of TV shows that we are excited about.
We have, and even mentioned some that weren't on the list.
I know.
That may be coming.
Yes. So we always like to finish out our podcast now, or our live streams, YouTube videos, with some shout outs to some of our friends who do similar things. And, they're just part of our geeky, wonderful, nerdy community, and we love them, and so we like to share some love. So we're going to do that. I'm going to go over here. Let's see where we're going to start.
We need to edit these at some point.
We do, because some of these are like, just going to throw these out here.
Yeah, exactly.
We have the OzPod Gals on Facebook. It says on Thursdays at 6 p.m. They are not always on there. It's sporadic, but they are amazing. They're part of the team for OzCon. Bree is actually the president of OzCon now.
Which is awesome.
I know. Bree and Amber, and they're beautiful, funny, smart, geeky, amazing, like geek girls.
And so, they have great chemistry. They're so fun.
They're so much fun. So go over to their Facebook page, OzPod Gals, give it a like. And then when they do post videos, you'll see it.
Yeah. We need to have them on soon.
We should talk about OzCon.
Yeah.
And then we're going to hit on over to Keith and Gary at Pop Culture Minefield on YouTube. They have all kinds of shows. I can't even keep up with them. They keep changing them. They add shows. They take away shows. They add more shows. But here's what's consistent with them. Language. No, you got to watch the language. But what's really consistent with them is their knowledge. Yes. And they bring you so much insight into the world of entertainment, whether it be comics, movies, TV, all of that. They know so many people, and they give you some scoops, and they let you in a little bit behind the going-ons in Hollywood.
Well, and Gary has experience in the entertainment industry. He has drawn a lot of the posters for big movie posters that people recognize. He has worked with directors and other people. So Gary knows a lot of people. And Keith just knows everything. And everybody loves Keith because Keith is so amazing. So
you know, my favorite part, and I keep telling them, my favorite part is when Gary says something and Keith cracks up.
Yes.
Because he doesn't just crack up. He is just like full-blown, can't laugh, face down, amazingness. They're so great. We over here at GeekyKOOL try to keep everything PG-13. I'm allowed one curse word per episode. I haven't used it yet.
Well, God darn it.
I know. But they are not. They do have language. So if you have young ones around, kids that you don't want them to hear the language, pop on some headphones, put in some earbuds, listen to them anyway, because you're going to learn something from them.
Well, you know what? When we were talking about Keith and Gary, and Gary cranking up Keith, it reminds me of watching Tim Conway and Harry Cordman, and yes. Conway trying to always get
Harry to crack up. Yes,
and usually did.
Yes, it was so fun. They have that chemistry. They have that really good chemistry. Speaking of Keith has another show, and it is Keith Chimes In, and it is over on the Fat Steven Seagal Show on YouTube, Mondays at 3. He will go in depth about all kinds of stuff. I don't know what he's talking about right at the moment.
He probably doesn't either. Did you ever watch the show Mad TV back in the 90s? It was kind of like Saturday Night Live, but it was on Fox. They had a fat Steven Seagal character. Yes. It was Will Sasso played his version of Steven Seagal. So whenever I hear that, I think of Will Sasso up there. Be Steven Seagal. So anyway.
Oh my goodness. But go over and check him out on the Fat Steven Seagal Show. Now, everything that we're showing you and what you hear, be sure when you go to these YouTube channels, you hit subscribe if you like it. You hit like, you comment, you share. If you're on Facebook or Twitter or Instagram and stuff, be sure to follow these people, like them, subscribe. It helps us keep our algorithms up so that more people can see us, but it also lets us know that what we're doing is important to you or that you like it, and that keeps our morale up a little bit.
It certainly does, because when you do something for free and you love it, then it's always nice when people like you back with it.
It is. It makes you feel good.
It does.
And speaking of YouTube and Facebook, we have our distinguished competition over at the Nerd Informants. We call them that just because we're really close with them. We know them in person, and they're a lot of fun. They just got back from Northwest Arkansas.
I saw that. Darn it, they get a convention before we did this year.
They did. They did. But they will have movie reviews, and they have like, I think they're going to do some kind of like, Tim's scared of scary movies, so I think they're going to do some kind of reaction video and stuff like that. It's amazingly fun. They have a video, if you guys can go back into kind of their archives of Tim watching Annabelle. It is a hoot. It is a hoot and a half. But be sure to go check them out. Hit like, subscribe, all of that stuff. Now, they did something really cool for all of us, all the geeky community around the world, and that is on Facebook. They created a page called the Nerd Informants Beyond, where anybody can add cool geeky stuff, and you can ask questions, you can post memes, you can, if you do what we do and you want to share that on there, they are happy to do that. The only thing they ask is we keep it friendly and geek friendly. You know, be nice to each other.
Right. You don't have to like something that somebody else likes. That's okay. No. You can
We're
dislike
not
it. Right. It's okay for you to like something and not somebody else. That's all cool.
Right. And then we have our partner in some amazing stuff. He's going to be with us at OzCon, and that is the Scallywag himself. He's on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. I think there's more. I don't know. He's my husband, and I still don't know. But
he's doing a fans only with all the toys. Like,
the Riddler, Springfield Riddler fans only. It's fine. He's a cosplayer. He did the Riddler, and he was really well known for it in Springfield, so he was known as the Springfield Riddler, so that's where that comes from. That would be hilarious. I'm not even going to lie. I would subscribe to my husband's OnlyFans if he did that.
Well, there you go. Now we already know an extra source of income coming in.
And guess what? I didn't say a curse word, but we kind of took it into the PG with the OnlyFans.
Well, you know, if it was an 80s movie, though, that would be not only appropriate, but
I didn't do it this time. Professor did it. He took it there. I'm so proud of myself, you guys. You have no idea. And then there's us, GeekyKOOL.com. We are on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube. If you're watching this, you're watching us on one of those. And then also now we are a podcast, so you can find us on Amazon, Spotify. What else, Professor?
There's Apple, there's Google, pretty much any streaming service for your podcast, we should be on it. So
yeah. And then we have a website. So that's kind of what makes us unique. As all of our friends, we have our own website. It is a PG website. We keep it kid-friendly. We post trailers, articles, reviews, and it's not just me and Professor. We have a bunch of friends, contributors, who write for us, who post things for us. And so you get a lot of different voices, but it's all from the same geeky community.
Exactly. And that's the whole vision of GeekyKOOL.com, a friendly place to allow your kids to be able to go check things out while giving you a variety of information from different other geeks out there. So
yes,
we do love that about it. So we are churning along at a great pace on GeekyKOOL. We're continuing to have tons of hits. Appreciate you all for going out and checking out the articles. There is new information coming out all the time about the D&D stuff that I know that some people are very interested in with the OGL. We did have a video with D last week about that. There'll be more stuff coming out, potentially an invite for him to join us next week to talk more about it. And so there's all sorts of geek stuff out there going on. And along with all the movie trailers, TV trailers, and everything else that's happening. So you can check that out on GeekyKOOL.com. Remember, cool is spelled with a K, like Kool and the Gang, for those of us that are old school. And so, as I like to always say, stay geeky out there. And we'll talk to you guys later.
Be kind to each other. Bye, guys.